right, I'm going to show you how to use the beading loom here. This is the beading loom that we made in the makerspace. You can see it's got these basically wooden combs that we have threads stretched across. This one has a total of 8 threads, which means that we are going to need 7 beads to fit in the spaces between the threads. I have another piece of thread, a little bit smaller gauge, in this special long needle. This is sometimes called a beading needle. So because I need 7 beads for this particular one, I'm going to count out 7 beads. And you can see here I have a little board with some felt on it, which helps keep the beads from rolling around as I load them on the needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now I'm going to get those down to the end. You'll notice I've come underneath the matrix of threads, and I'm going to push up underneath to make sure I get 1 bead in every space. Now I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go over the top of the threads, so I'm through the hole of the bead and over the top of the threads. Try to make sure that you don't actually go through the thread with your needle, because that will keep the bead from being able to slide down. We want to be able to slide everything down so that it is all tight and even when we're done. Pull through here, and there's a whole row of beads. For the next layer, I'm going to pass underneath, pick up my beads, 5, 6, and 7. Pass it up through the holes between the threads, pass the needle through. Again, being careful not to actually hook those threads with the needle. There's another row. So you can see that each bead has a thread that goes under this side and back through the top. You can pick different colors of beads if you want to make a pattern, of course. For example, you could write letters. This particular matrix, using 8 threads, leaving 7 beads, you can use a standard dot matrix letter pattern to make, for example, your initials. If you want to make patterns of letters or numbers with your beads, it's fairly easy to do when you have different color beads. Perhaps you bought a pack of multicolors like this, in which case you can just separate out some into different piles. Or if you're planning ahead, you can often buy beads in a specific color at a time. An easy way to make letters and numbers is to use a dot matrix font. This is the exact same font that they use in LED screens. This particular font I've chosen uses a 5x7 matrix. Because our set of beads is 7 beads across, these letters will easily fit in our beads. You can use graph paper to plan out your patterns ahead of time. Here I'm going to write SAS using beads. I've got 7 beads across, and I've made an X where I'm going to put my specific colored beads. You can plan out on graph paper ahead of time where you're going to put your colored beads to help you keep track of things. Here I'm writing SAS using a dot matrix font. I'll pick out a contrasting color bead for just the squares with an X. To keep track of my pattern, row by row, I'm going to have my pattern in front of me as I bead. So I'm going to be going down this line, and I take a background colored bead, then I take 2 of my white beads, and then 2 more of my background color, 1, 2, then 1 white bead, 1 more of these dark beads. We've got this strung on my thread here. Put them in place just like every other row. And cross that one out because I've already been there. So next one, I'm going to take white bead, 2 dark beads, another white, 2 darks, and the last one. So just think of all the patterns and shapes you could make out of beads.